Let's look at our first of 3 problems. For a math project, Roxana made a table below to show the amount of time she spent doing different activities last weekend. So she danced, she read, she played soccer, and she swam. On which activities did she spend more than half an hour? Explain how you know which took more than half an hour. So in this case, I'm not going to find a common denominator because I have 4 different numbers: 5, 12, 8, and 6. And finding a number that they all can fit into will take a long time, even if I skip counted by all of them. I think 120 is the number. I'd have to skip count all the way to 120 to find a number that they all fit into, which takes up a lot of time. So I'm just going to use a different tactic here. I'm going to use logic, and I'm going to look for which ones are more than half an hour. So I'm going to look at dance first, and dance is 6 over 5, which is definitely more than 1. So that has to be more than 1/2. So I know that dance definitely on the list. And now I have 4 12s. So I'm going to think, if I have 12, what would half of 12 be? Okay, what would that be? So what you could also do is, I can take 1/2 and use now my property of 1. It would have 6 12s is 1/2. I have 4 12s, and that is less than 1/2. So that's one way I can do a comparison. I could do the same thing with 7 8s. Here's 1/2. And I'm thinking, how do I get it to 8? I'm going to multiply by 4 over 4. So that's 4 eighths. 4 eighths is half. And I have 7 eighths, so that is more than 1/2. So 4 eighths is absolutely less than 7 eighths. So, yep, got a second one. And now the same thing, I have 2 6. So what would that be represented here? And some kids are going, Miss, I know it's going to be 3. And that's great if you're already seeing it in your head. And if you're struggling with that, then you can do 3 times 2 makes 6. So 3 times 1 makes 3. And I only have 2, so I know that one's not true. 3 6 is greater than 2 6. So let's answer this question fully. How do we know? Which activities does she spend more than 1/2? Half of an hour. Dance and soccer. Let's turn that into a full sentence. I don't like when someone just writes it like that. Let's write a full sentence. So there's my full answer. I had to really just express my thinking in there just to make it full. And notice how not only did I stop myself from just putting an answer, I made it a full sentence, and I gave my evidence why for each. So let's hit pause and jot this down into your notes. Take about 1.5 minutes. Sarah, Tom, Ray, and Carol ordered 1 pizza. Sarah ate 3 eighths. Tom ate 1/4 of his pizza. Ray ate 3/4 of his pizza. Carol ate half her pizza. Who ate the most pizza? So this one is much easier. It has friendlier numbers, so I can actually play with them a little bit more. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm actually going to let's expand these. And let's look for a common denominator. And I like to start with the smallest number instead of going with the biggest. And already I have I already see some common denominators, 4 and 8. So now I can go to the others. And 8 is going to be my common denominator. And that's super cool because now I can compare all these because they're all the same. So I have 3 eighths, 2 eighths, 6 eighths, and 4 eighths. And just so I can see where I got my numbers. This one was Sarah. This one was Tom. Here was Ray, and this one is Carol. So who ate the most pizza? I'm just comparing numerators. 3, 2, 6, 8. 6 eighths is the highest, so Ray ate the most. So he had the very most of them. So this is a pretty good strategy when my numbers are super friendly. In my first example, the numbers were not friendly at all. I would have had to count so long. So I had to try a different approach here. But again, different paths to the same solution does happen in math as long as it makes sense. Sometimes the strategy I use a lot doesn't work in another case very well. And this was a case where our strategy works pretty well. So let's hit pause so you can jot this one down into your notes. You've seen me model a few times. Now it's your turn to try one out in the guided practice. I'll read the problem to you. You'll hit pause and work through the problem. The table shows the height increases in inches of some girls in Gina's class from 3rd grade to 4th grade. Which girl had a height increase that was greater than 1 inch? Was it Gina, Maxine, Sherry, or Vanessa? All their height changes are listed in the table. Hit pause and work out the problem. Let's do the answer reveal. Which girl had a height increase greater than 1/2 inch? And the answer is Maxine. So how did I get this answer? Well, if you had Maxine, congratulations, great job. If you didn't, let's work through this problem to figure out where we have a difference happening. So first thing we did was I looked at all the answers from Gina to Vanessa, and we created equivalent fractions. It's so much easier to compare, and I set them all to 24. So there's the work there. And then after I did that, I ordered them from least to greatest, so we can see from Vanessa all the way to Maxine. But the question was, which one had a height that was greater, change in height greater than 1/2? So 1/2 is 12 over 24. The only one that had a height increase that was greater than 12 over 24 was Maxine's. I couldn't pick Sherry because that's exactly equal, and we want to know which one was greater. So this is how I worked through the problem. Go in and check your work and see, did you find a common multiple for all the numbers? And it could have been something else. 24 was the least common multiple. You might have had 48. But whatever it was, make sure you use your property of 1 to make sure that the fractions were equivalent. So for example, here it was 3 over 3 to get the 9 over 24, and so on. So hit pause so you can look over and see where our work is different, and hopefully you're able to catch your mistake. I hope that was helpful. I will see you in the next lesson, Math Marbles. Be well. Bye.